Welcome to my new homestead. I'm going to show you how I'm going to lay it out. Let's go. Welcome to Becky's homestead. This is my new homestead, which I have named Homestead Park. So just so we know, I have to name it. I'm going to tell you the story about it. I have my other homestead, which is called Becky's homestead, which is much, much smaller. It is like 2 acres or a little under. I developed that and it was kind of country when I moved there, and it was great. Loved it, got a lot of experience doing that. I built my cabin over there, which was, of course, was a huge project. That was the biggest project on the farm, is I built my little log cabin over there. But slowly, since all the lots were very small, lots of people started moving in and filled it in. So one day Scott said, and I was just like, it was a light bulb in my head. He said, we live in the suburbs, which is like the country suburbs. And I was just like, oh, that is so true. We drive very far out of town to get there. But once you're there, it's just like a suburbs. There's like so many people and dogs and traffic and lawnmowers and noise, and I'm just like, oh, this is not what I want. So things do change. So in order to prevent that in the future, I figured I need a little bit bigger piece of land for the next step. So that way there's just a bigger boundary of privacy. So we found this piece of property because Scott and I decided that he would sell his property, I would sell my property, and together we'd get a bigger piece of property and both live on it. Plenty of room where we both have our own space, but we're still on the same property. So we barely got this property by the skin of our teeth, and it's in my dream location. It is a big size, and it has some beautiful things on it, which I will point out. What I liked about this property when I first saw it is it's already partially cleared. With the property I have, Becky's homestead, my small one, so we'll know the difference. That's Becky's homestead, this is Homestead Park. Becky's homestead was virgin land that I had to clear, which was so hard. So what I liked about Homestead Park here when I found it is it's already cleared. I love this tree. I already cleaned around it, and I call it lantern tree. And I just think that is a stunning tree on this piece of property, which is it's a very old tree. Over here, there's another huge tree, which I absolutely love. It is so big and so tall, and it has 1,000,000 pine cones up there. So that really caught my attention. And to have a little outbuilding when you first start out is so helpful. I didn't have that on Becky's homestead. So just having that tiny little shed is a plus when you're moving on to a new property and you have to develop it. This is the big, huge area in the front here. Plenty of room for my horses and a barn. And what's nice about it is I'll probably put my cabin right in this area somewhere, so I can be near lantern tree and the big old pine tree, which I love. And then if you turn around in the back, there's still so much land and room for Scott to build his house somewhere back here, because the property just goes beyond those woods. So there's just plenty for both of us to have our own place and be helpful to each other if we need it, but not to be too close. You have your privacy, which is going to work out so good. So I just want to tell people that, sometimes you can develop a homestead on your own. Sometimes you can have a family member and get a little bit bigger piece of property and homestead together, which is very helpful. In this sense, I'm going to tell you why it's helpful. You don't need 2 lawnmowers. You don't need 2 tractors. You don't need 2 trucks. You can share some of these costly items together on the same homestead, and that will save you a lot of money. And you can just kind of, work together and share things, and it will make it more pleasant and easier to homestead. Plus, if you get a little bit bigger piece of property by homesteading with somebody else, you can get a bigger piece of property, which will give you more privacy in the future. Another thing that made me like this property, I told you that it's already cleared and it already has a well. When I developed my first homestead, I had to do all that stuff. So knowing all that, looking for my second piece of property, having it already cleared, already having a well, are definite pluses for me. It saves time, it does save a little bit of money, and it's just nice to know it's there right from the get-go. You don't have to wait. Okay, so now I'm going to explain a little bit of how I'm going to lay out my dream homestead. So I've decided my cabin is going to be right in this area right here. I just love this area, and I do want to face my cabin this way because my horses are going to be over here, and I want to be able to look at my horses. Also, I want to be able to look at Lantern Tree. I just absolutely love that tree, and it's just so nice, and I want to look at that every day of my life. I didn't want to push it too far this way because I don't want the big granddaddy pine tree one day to fall on top of my cabin. I must say that I'm bringing my cabin with me, and we joke in my family and say I'm like a turtle. I bring my house with me. I just love my cabin, and thankfully, I didn't build it too big, so I'm able to move it and have it put over here. So I'm so excited about that. I just can't wait to have my cute little cabin on this beautiful homestead park. Right here are two really old, huge pecan trees. They haven't been well taken care of. They haven't been fertilized or pruned, but I'm going to jump right on that and do that, and hopefully I'm going to bring these trees back to life and have them producing this year. Hopefully, within a year or two. So I'm so excited about that. I almost did a little happy dance when I found out the property had two pecan trees on it. To me, that is such a plus and so valuable. We're going to have the gardens and the orchard right here in this sunny area. Then where the car is going to be where my little cabin is. To the left of that, we're going to have the horses and a barn over this way. And then I can't quite decide where I'm going to put my chicken coop and my hog pen. But I'm going to figure out a good spot. You know, you do have to spend a lot of time on a piece of property to really get the feel for it and see where things are going to work. All right, so this nice, flat, huge area here is where Scott's going to build his house, which is so nice that it's so big and we're so going to be far away from each other. Unless like something happens, when we call the other one, help, and then you can go running to help each other. So it'll be so beautiful and so wonderful. I cannot wait to develop this. And the excitement you see in me, you can have for yourselves if you develop a homestead. And that's what I encourage you to do. Try and get a little piece of property and develop your own homestead. To help you find land and know how to buy property, I have written a little book called Becky's Guide to Buying Land. And in my little book, I describe to you all the things that you need to know before you purchase land. It's going to help you not get a lousy deal or buy a piece of property and find out something afterward and just be like, oh no, I didn't know that, darn it. So you need to educate yourself beforehand and then go start looking for your piece of property. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.